Mr. Mayor, we live.
Thank you, Mark. Today is March 15th, 2023. The time is 7:02 p.m. and I am calling to order the Baldwin Park City Council regular meeting. And we are going to go ahead and ask Pastor Jackson and Pastor Flores if you can lead us in invocation. And I will also request that during that invocation, you can keep in mind Maria Antonieta Contreras, who unfortunately passed away today, and she was our former city treasurer. And if you are able to, at this time, you may stand.
Thank you, Mayor, for the opportunity. And yeah, we received that tough news and challenging news, and pray for the family. Jehová es tu guardador. Alzaré mis ojos a los montes. ¿De dónde vendrá mi socorro? Mi socorro viene de Jehová, que hizo los cielos y la tierra. Dios, gracias por este privilegio, Señor, para entrar en tu presencia. Necesita para experiencia tu sanar. Tú eres el sanador, tú eres el redentor. Gracias, Señor, por la ciudad y el liderazgo de la ciudad. Ese deseo de la ciudad para honrar su nombre y servir su pueblo. Gracias, Señor, por esta oportunidad. En el nombre de Jesucristo.
Heavenly Father, we praise you and we magnify your holy name. You said to acknowledge you in all of our ways, and you would direct our path. And this is what we need, your divine direction for Baldwin Park, Lord. We're asking you, Lord God, in touching the mayor and the city council, giving them wisdom and knowledge and understanding, many decisions to make concerning the city. So give them what they need to make the right decisions, to do what they need to do for the city. We thank you, Lord God, for our police department, Lord, that you put your mighty hand up on them, Lord. As we read in the news, see things that are happening to police officers, we're asking you, Lord God, put a hedge of protection around about them, with no hurt, harm, or danger will come nigh them as they are out serving to protect. In the name of the Lord, we pray on this, Lord. So we have our responders like the fire department and those that are working in the hospitals. We have our schools, Lord. We need you. We need you in our children, Lord God, and amongst our children, Lord God, breaking the power of gangs, breaking the power of drugs, Lord God. We need you with our children. We need you, Father God, in the homes, Lord God, where there be unity with the children and the fathers and the mothers in the home, Father God, as well. We need you, Lord God, in our businesses, Lord. This is a business and it's called Baldwin Park. Then we need the power of God in our businesses, that the businesses will elevate, Lord. When we call upon you, Lord God, and acknowledge you, Lord God, you answers prayer. And so therefore, Lord God, we thank you and we praise you for the things that you are doing, the things that you are going to do here in the city of Baldwin Park. In the name of the Lord, we pray. Amen. The United States of America, to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And as I mentioned earlier, we do want to acknowledge and send our condolences to the Contreras family. Maria Marie Antonieta Contreras was born on June 15th, 1949, and unfortunately passed away on March 15, 2023. Maria Marie A. Contreras first took office as city treasurer on March of 2001 and concluded her public service career after serving 21 years on December 7th, 2022. In 1961, her parents migrated from Sonora, Mexico to Baldwin Park. Since then, she made Baldwin Park her home. Marie was a proud Sierra Vista High School alumnus. She retired from Macy's after 45 years. She was an active member of the Baldwin Park Sisters Association, Women's Club, as well as other community organizations. Marie is survived by her husband, Al Contreras, and her family. Known for her endless kindness and her spiritual giving for all people alike, Marie is part of the City of Baldwin Park community fabric. We will always be thankful for her contributions to the betterment of our city. And I just want to add that Marie was always a great pleasure to have on the City Council, and that we want to acknowledge her loss and send our condolences to the Contreras family, and send her family some flowers as well, and let her know that we appreciate them sharing her with us for so many years here at City Hall.
Mayor,
Yes, Councilwoman.
I would like to also take this opportunity to close on behalf of, I'm sorry, of a legend, I would call him an icon in our community. We lost a great person this past weekend, Mr. Robert Bob Benbow. Mr. Benbow was known as our initial curator of our Baldwin Park Historical Museum, as well as the president of the Historical Society. And I just have a quick information regarding him. Mr. Benbow was born in Pasadena, Texas on September 9th, 1938, to a farmer and a teacher. He was a hard worker and volunteer. He was very goal-oriented, a visionary, and a true born leader. In college, he studied history and planned to become a teacher. He served in the Army in Europe, where he met his wife, Ria. He has a daughter, Helen, and a son-in-law, Troy, and grandson, Xander, who reside in San Diego. He came to our wonderful community of Baldwin Park in 1961 and spent over 40 years where he truly adopted the city of Baldwin Park as his own. He wanted to make the community strong, give opportunities to all that live there, or live here, excuse me. He created a pathway for job training and gave folks a chance to get their high school diploma. He was always sensitive to the needs of the community and those struggling to make ends meet. So to encourage folks on the importance of education and job training, he set up free babysitting during the day and evening so that parents, single mothers and fathers could learn a trade, study for their diploma, or even learn English without having to worry about babysitting. He developed vocational programs at no cost to better serve the community and gave everyone a chance to be successful and meet their goals. Mr. Benbow was a friend, an employer, a mentor to many people. He truly cared about the seniors, and he developed a model program for the older adults with the collaboration of the City of Baldwin Park and the Community Center. In addition to developing these numerous programs, he recognized the importance of music and theater arts to the children and adults of our community. His vision led to the building of the Performing Arts Center. It's now a community landmark. And as a matter of fact, that's where we will be hosting our State of the City address on Thursday, March 30th, 2023, in the house that Mr. Benbow built. So we are so proud of that. Mr. Benbow left a legacy that included collaboration with the City of Baldwin Park and with many municipal and state officials. He's a true legend, a leader, he's left behind a legacy with no shoes, really, who can fill them. And he was truly loved and will be truly missed by many. And I personally feel a great loss at both these people who we are honoring right now, because I think that because of them, our community is who we are. And we serve up here to be, if we can, half the people that they were. So I respectfully ask that we close on behalf of Mr. Benbow as well. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilwoman. And you are correct. Mr. Benbow was a great piece of history, and he's actually the reason that we have so much of our history jotted down. I actually have one of the two books that he was a part of. So it's really unfortunate for us to know that we've lost Mr. Benbow.
Mayor, I also want to give my condolences to the loved ones of Marie Contreras and Bob Benbow, and two beautiful people in our community who contributed so positively, and they will be dearly missed. Staples in our community, and very much part of the fabric of what the City of Baldwin Park represents to me, and that is, community members, reaching out, and just always with a smile, being really positive and welcoming, and creating opportunities, for others. And I do believe that these two individuals represented that. And I just hope that, we could learn from them and let them be, models for future leadership and for future contributors to this community. I feel like we have lost, really wonderful gems. And I can't help but feel like there's a sunset, of a generation in the community. But that's the cycle of life. And, it also brings forth new. And so anyway, I just want to extend my condolences. And I think that the words shared by Councilmember Ayala are really fitting, for a tribute to Bob Bembo and as well as Marie. So just wanted to share my condolences. Family.
Mayor, if I may.
Yes, Councilmember Damian.
I'd also like to send my condolences to the Contreras family. As all of you have mentioned, Marie Contreras was a staple in our community, was very well respected and well liked. I would also like to send my condolences to the Bob Bembo family, a huge icon in the community who led and started the Baldwin Park Historical Museum. I would also like to close on behalf of Stanley Thornton, who passed away on February 26th. Stanley actually took over the Historical Museum after Mr. Bob Bembo stepped down. And then lastly, I'd like to close on behalf of Enrique Lincoln. Enrique Lincoln passed away on Sunday, March 5th. In speaking with his nephew, Robert Lincoln, he stated that there will be no funeral services. Enrique lived in the city of Baldwin Park since 1980. He was an auto mechanic in North Hollywood. And once Mr. Lincoln retired, he volunteered at the senior center for more than 10 years. Mr. Lincoln assisted with the morning coffee, 5K run, giving out water and fruits, and serving lunch. He enjoyed doing the local casinos and traveling to Laughlin. Mr. Lincoln always had a smile and would be deeply, deeply missed. So I want to send our condolences to the Lincoln family as well. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember. I wasn't aware of Stanley's passing, but Stanley was also another great individual that focused a lot on the history of Baldwin Park. So his loss is another great one.
And one more
With that,
item,
Mayor-
Mayor, before we move on. Oh,
I'm
go
sorry,
ahead.
just really quick. So with that, maybe we can start the conversation. I know I had a conversation with Enrique, where they don't know what to do with the historical museum. So they've been talking about closing it. I don't think that we should allow to close it. I think if anything, we should work to improve on it
Yes.
and keep the history alive and maybe even build something bigger. I think it's something that our community kids would benefit from, especially field trips. There's a great, rich history in Baldwin Park, and I think it's up to us to keep that history alive. So thank you, Mayor.
I agree, and you are right. There's so much more room for growth for that. We want to see it thrive and not only keep their work alive, but their memories and keeping Baldwin Park history alive as well. So I would like to see that as well. Oh yes, City Treasurer.
Mayor, I also wanted to extend our support to former Supervisor Gloria Molina. We've recently learned that she's battling terminal cancer. She put out a message, a personal message on her social media yesterday. And she's our former supervisor here and, has also left her legacy in this community. And I really want to celebrate that, and especially in these coming days where clearly she has expressed, that she has been battling this disease. And for me, as a council member, when we didn't have the funding to make improvements to the Walnut Creek Park because we were going through a recession, I will always remember that she provided the initial $250,000 for that project. And where is Manny Carrillo? And you remember that when we were really trying to figure out funding, we had received an initial 50,000 from some environmental groups, and we're looking to do the next step. Not sure, who would step in, and she did with Teresa Villegas. And so I really want to recognize her for that, because I think, little by little, we were able to leverage the initial funding and create some great improvements to Walnut Creek Park, which have now, realized the vision that we had, which was connecting that park to the river path, and then also in the connectivity here within the city. So I really want to, offer our support to her and thank her right now when it matters. And I also want to acknowledge that Manny Carrillo, reached out to Bob Bembo in the days that really mattered. So thank you for doing that.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that. City Attorney, there is nothing to report out from closed session, as we did not have one.
That's correct, Mayor. There was nothing to report out because no meeting was convened, as there was no quorum for the meeting.
Thank you for that, City Attorney. So announcements: the City Council are also members of the Board of Directors of the Housing Authority and Finance Authority, which are concurrently convening with the City Council this evening, and each council member... Oh, you're right. Can I just finish this, or I gotta go back to roll call? All right, before I finish that sentence, City Clerk, roll call, please. Here, Estrada. Here.
Here.
I believe Councilwoman Avila will not be able to join us, so I will make a motion to excuse her. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any objections? City Clerk, continue.
Here.
Here.
Thank you for that, City Clerk. Continuing that announcement, the City Council are also members of the Board of Directors of the Housing Authority and Finance Authority, which are concurrently convening with the City Council this evening, and each council member is paid an additional stipend of $30 for attending the Housing Authority meeting and $50 for attending the Finance Authority meeting. We do have some proclamations, commendations, and presentations, and we first off want to welcome our new Chief Deputy City Clerk, Shirley Quinones. So Shirley, if you want to go ahead and join us over here, I'm going to go ahead and read a little bit about you. So Shirley Quinones is our new Chief Deputy City Clerk, and prior to joining the City of Baldwin Park, Shirley was the Executive Assistant to the City Manager and the Deputy City Clerk of the City of Maywood. Shirley was the first to implement an agenda management system and a public records management system at the City of Maywood. And prior to that, she was an administrative operations supervisor at AFCME Council 57, where she worked for 20 plus years. Shirley resides in Alhambra with her daughters, Elisa and Marabella. And I believe you also reside with a couple of fish.
Yes.
She does have a fish tank, so just want to share that, and a dog. So Shirley, you got any words for us?
I just want to give this opportunity to thank the mayor and the council for giving me this opportunity of being here. Thank you.
And so we know Shirley got right to work because we all got those emails to fill out those FPPC forms electronically. So we want to acknowledge that. Thank you for that. And next we do have the proclamation for Women's History Month, and we're going to present that to Gloria Gratian Muniz. And she's the business owner of El Taconazo. So Gloria, you can join us over here.
Lori or Gloria Jr.
So as she makes her way up here, I do want to read her biography. Gloria and her famous family restaurant, El Taconazo, on Ramona Boulevard, have been part of the city ball and park fabric for the last 35 years. Gloria, along with her late husband, Luis Gratian, and his brother, ventured north from Ensenada in 1985 and opened a small restaurant on Valley Boulevard in nearby City of Industry and named it El Taconacito. But the business prospects and the hospitality of the city of Ball and Park soon lured them to open the original El Taconazo restaurant on Ramona Boulevard in 1988, thus creating the original and now famous fish tacos estilo Ensenada right here in Ball and Park. Running a business is a challenging undertaking, but Gloria and her husband Luis made a perfect business partnership. This all changed when Luis passed away unexpectedly. Gloria's tenacity, determination, business drive, courage, sacrifice, entrepreneurship, and her family led her to carry on with the business. Gloria has similarly empowered the other women in her family to help run the business. Daughters Gloria and Lori and granddaughters Marlette and Danette are part of her team. There are some men in the picture, son-in-laws, but it's Women's History Month, so we're not going to name them. They are her son-in-laws and grandsons, and they do help, and they are also part of the business, but not part of this story. Just this past October 2022, El Taconazo, as a business and as a milestone in their story of success, was able to purchase the very building that they had been operating in the last 35 years. Gloria. No, we're not done. We're not done. It just gets better. Gloria epitomizes the value of hard work, drive, sacrifice, the fight for equality, and the pursuit of success, and the love for family. And we want to congratulate Gloria on those milestones. Palabras? Oh, let me see. Yes, I want to make sure it's a good translation. Gloria y su muy conocido restaurante El Taconazo en el Boulevard de Ramona ha sido parte de la rúbrica historial de la ciudad de Ball and Park por los últimos 35 años. Junto con su difunto esposo, Luis Gratian, y su hermano emigraron de Ensenada en 1985 y abrieron El Taconacito en la City of Industry. Pero la hospitalidad y el prospecto de buen negocio de la ciudad de Ball and Park los motivó a abrir el original, el Taconazo Restaurant en Ramona Boulevard en 1988. Así los originales y ahora famosos tacos de pescado estilo Ensenada. Correr un negocio es un reto, pero Gloria y Luis eran socios de negocios ideales. Todo cambió cuando Luis falleció repentinamente y gracias a su tesón de seguir adelante, su determinación, empuje y el apoyo de su familia, Gloria logró seguir con el negocio. De igual manera, Gloria ha inspirado a otras mujeres en su familia a unirse al negocio. Sus hijas, Gloria y Lori, sus nietas, Marlette y Annette, son parte del equipo. Y sí hay varones también en el equipo, pero eso es para otra ocasión. El pasado octubre de 2022, Gloria logró adquirir el mismo edificio donde Taconazo ha operado por 35 años. Un logro muy importante para su negocio. Gloria representa los valores de esfuerzo y dedicación, empuje, sacrificio, lucha por la igualdad y el amor a la familia. Felicidades, Gloria. ¿Palabras? ¿Decir unas palabras?
Pues sí, estoy orgullosa. Buenas tardes a todos, primeramente. Pues gracias a Dios, le sufrimos mucho, pero se alcanzan las metas cuando uno quiere. Hoy, gracias a Dios y a los que están en el cielo, logré quedarme con el edificio del Taconazo. Mis hijas, mis yernos, mis nietos, mis nietas, todos han colaborado en los restaurantes. Mis hijas llegaron a tener hasta 5 restaurantes y al final me dejan sola y se van a Ensenada a vivir. Pero yo estoy orgullosa de ellas también, porque ahora son mi pilar, ellas y mis nietas y toda la familia. Gracias a Dios. Así es de que ahí estamos en el 14343 Ramona Boulevard, en Baldwin Park. Muchas gracias a todos y Dios me los bendiga.
Good evening to all. I'm very glad to be here, and thank God we for this occasion. We have struggled a great deal. We have suffered a lot, and but today is the day when I thank God, because I was able to reach all my goals, and I was able to keep the building where El Taconazo operates. Thanks to my daughters, my grandchildren. And other people, because they have also succeeded in this restaurant business. They have more than 5 restaurants, but they are back in Ensenada. They have left me here all alone. But they are pillars of their community, and I'm very proud of them. So I'm here still working at the Taconazo, which is located at 14343 in Ramona Boulevard in the city of Baldwin Park. Thank you very much.
So before I present this proclamation for Women's History Month for March 2023, I will go ahead and read it and then present it to Gloria. So whereas throughout history, extraordinary women have fought tirelessly to broaden our democracy's reach and help perfect our union through protest and activism, for generations, women have appealed to the values at the heart of our nation and fought to give meaning to the idea that we are all created equal. And whereas this month we celebrate countless pioneering women and the victories they won, and we continue our work to build a society where our daughters have the same possibilities as our sons, they have demonstrated for justice, jobs, and promise for equal pay. And whereas courageous women have called not only for the absence of oppression, but for the presence of opportunity, women have marched for the right to vote, not just so their voices would be heard, but to overcome discrimination after decades of slow and steady progress. And whereas we honor the many patriots who have shaped not only the destinies of other women, but also the direction of our history, as a nation, we must join our voices and push forward with unyielding faith to forge a more equal society for all women. And whereas we dedicate the month of March to all those who help and support all women and business owners, and present this proclamation to Gloria Gratian Muñiz, owner of El Taconazo, and thank her for her commitment to her family-owned restaurant. Now, therefore, I, Emmanuel J. Estrada, Mayor of the City of Baldwin Park, along with Mayor Pro Tem Monica Garcia, Council Members Alejandra Avila, Jean M. Ayala, Daniel Damian, City Clerk Christopher Sainz, and City Treasurer Joanna Valenzuela, do hereby proclaim that March 2023 as Women's History Month in the City of Baldwin Park, and encourage all residents and community members to celebrate with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities. I believe the state representative also has.
Good evening, Council. Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, audience. And I'm here to present an award. Sorry about that. My name is Crystal Lopez, and today I am here on behalf of our Senator Susan Rubio, and I'm here to also present an award. It is the March of, excuse me. It is the Women's History Month, and on behalf of the California State Senate, it is my honor to join in recognizing Women's History Month. The history and the contribution of women in our community, our country, our world are significant and worthy of special recognition. Thank you for uplifting the stories, successes, and importance of this destination in the city of Baldwin Park. Congratulations. From the Senator Susan Rubio.
Over here on this side.
Someone take a photo with us.
We want to thank Gloria for being here with us. She is going to be at the Taco Mouse right now, so if anybody wants to go, you can join her for
everybody.
I was going to say michis, but tacos and champurrados. And then, do we have Patty Madera? Patty, do you want to join us up here? And Patty Madera is the interim director of the San Gabriel and Pomona Valleys for the American Red Cross. Is that correct? And so March is not only Women's History Month, it is also American Red Cross Month, which, fun fact, was started by a woman, correct?
Yes.
The founder of
Claire Barton.
Claire Barton. I was quizzing you, want to make sure. So, whereas more than 140 years ago, the American Red Cross was established as a humanitarian organization guided by 7 fundamental principles, including humanity, impartiality, and independence to provide services to those in need, regardless of race, gender, sexual orientation, or citizenship. And whereas every year the American Red Cross responds to an average of more than 62,000 disasters across the country, thousands of American Red Cross volunteers provide around-the-clock shelters for disaster victims and distribute millions of relief items. And whereas March is Red Cross Month, a special time to recognize and thank the Red Cross volunteers, donors who help members of the community. We applaud our heroes in the greater San Gabriel and Pomona Valleys who assist their neighbors in need. And whereas American Red Cross shelters provide emotional support to victims, teach skills that save lives, provide international humanitarian aid, support military members and their families. And whereas we dedicate the month of March to all those who help and support the American Red Cross mission, and present this proclamation to Patty Madera, American Red Cross Interim Director of the City of the San Gabriel Valley, Pomona Valleys, and thank her for her commitment to this organization. Now, therefore, I, Emmanuel J. Estrada, Mayor of the City of Baldwin Park, along with Mayor Pro Tem Monica Garcia, Council Members Alejandra Avila, Jean Emayala, Daniel Damian, City Clerk Christopher Sands, and City Treasurer Joanna Valenzuela, do hereby proclaim the March 2023 as American Red Cross Month in the City of Baldwin Park and encourage all residents, community members, and Americans to support this organization and its noble mission. And if you'd like to tell us about your organization and the great work you do.
Of course. Yeah, so the Red Cross, I hope you all are aware of the Red Cross, that we are always here to support you. Something that I always like to mention, of course, always donate blood whenever you can. But something else that the Red Cross does that a lot of people are sometimes not aware is that we deal with a lot of home fires. And so we actually support those efforts. If families are displaced at any time, the Red Cross is actually called in, and we help those families who are displaced by either finding shelter for the meantime, providing them with food, providing them with blankets, whatever that is something that we actually provide as well. So I want to make sure that the public is aware. If there is ever a need, the Red Cross is there to support you, and the Red Cross is here to support Baldwin Park in any way that we possibly can. Thank you so much.
Oh, we're taking the picture.
with.
Yes, go ahead.
Oh,
Sorry. It's because you're so quiet, you kind of just hide.
No, I'm just trying. I believe we met.
Yes, yeah.
Good to see you again. So, on behalf of California State Senate, it's my honor to present you with a certificate for your commitment in providing emergency assistance, disaster relief. Your outstanding leadership and tireless efforts have made a difference in the lives of many, which have a lasting impact through our chair region. It is only fitting to proclaim March an American Red Cross Month in the City of Baldwin Park. Congratulations. From the Senator.
Thank you so much.
Oh, with your phone, yeah.
The magical little iPhone that they give you. One more. Keep that smile. Keep that smile. Thank you so much.
For the backdrop.
Let's see, I need more confirmation.
Oh, for all the chairs.
Put all the chairs. Oh, stand. Want to put them back up? I mean. All right, and thank you all for being here. I do want to just share that excitement. It's very neat. And what a great story that Gloria has, where she leased a building for almost 40 years, and now she's able to own it. And I mean, that's the best American dream I've heard recently, and it's very nice to know that she's doing it in Baldwin Park. That she's a great representation of our immigrant community, and for that I applaud her. And as we celebrate Women's History Month, I do want to acknowledge that Baldwin Park has a rich history of women making a difference here in the city of Baldwin Park. I shared this last year. I'm not sure if many of you are aware, but the city of Baldwin Park had its first woman mayor in the 70s. That was Adeline Gregory. She was voted in by her fellow council members, who were all male at the time. So that was a big break for her, and she was a superstar in the San Gabriel Valley and leading us to be a powerhouse here in California. So we're very proud of that. We do have Ana Montenegro, who was our longest serving city treasurer, and she plays a huge role in representing Latino communities. And we've had other people like Betty Lowe's, who was the first elected woman mayor in the city of Baldwin Park, and of course people like Esther Snyder and Julia McNeil. Esther Snyder, of course, with In and Out, and Julia McNeil, one of our councilwomen back in the late 80s, 90s. And so now we will move to public communication. City Clerk, is there anybody looking to speak?
Hi, Mayor. We're going to start with one request for a telephone call. So 1 second.
Hello, this is Catherine.
Hi, Catherine. This is Chris Sines calling from the city of Baldwin Park. Are you ready to speak?
Hi. I am. Thank you so much.
Perfect. You're ready to go. 3 minutes.
Thank you. Thanks. So many condolences to all of the families that lost loved ones this last month. I particularly wanted to take a moment to thank the families of Bob Bembo and Stanley Thornton, both were members and longtime members of our Baldwin Park Friends of the Library, and both brought so much good to our public library, including materials and programs. So it is with deep sympathy that we say goodbye to those Friends of the Library members. Switching gears, I wanted to announce that on Saturday, March 25th, the Baldwin Park Library will be having a program called Sing Out Loud with LA Opera Tales. This will be an event perfect for the whole family. Registration will go live 1 week prior to the event. The event again was March 25th at 3 p.m. So registration would open this Saturday at 3 p.m. And while it's been incredibly rainy on and off for the last few months, I just wanted to highlight again that in partnership with the California State Library, the LA County Library offers free state park passes to library customers. They can be checked out for 2 weeks period, and they can be returned back to the library when you're done. And this provides access to numerous California state parks is all free of charge with your library card. Feel free to reach out to us at lacountylibrary.org or at 626-962-6947 if we could provide any assistance or provide any more information. Thank you so much and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Mayor, next I have a speaker card from Assistant Fire Chief Mike Inman.
Good evening, Mayor Estrada, council members, CEO Zaldivar, and all members of the public. My name is Mike Inman. I'm your Assistant Fire Chief for the local area. And the reason for my public comment tonight is to bring awareness for the increased incidence of structure fires that we've experienced here in the city of Baldwin Park, as well as surrounding areas. It's important to highlight that several fires not only result in injury of a homeowner or resident, but almost all lead to displacement of occupants of the structure is either deemed uninhabitable and many times complete or total loss. The severity of home fires are increasing due to several factors, such as older structures, combustibility of furnishings, lack of properly installed or functioning smoke detectors, illegal cannabis operations, and unattended items of risk, such as burning candles or space heaters. Over the past 3 years, we've experienced an uptick in structure fires in the city of Baldwin Park. In 2020, there were 97 fires. In 2021, there were 124, and 22, there was 132. Although the uptick may be attributed to the pandemic and more families staying at home, the severity and complexity of the structure fires remains high, and attributed displacements remain a significant cause of concern. Considering March is being proclaimed as Red Cross Month, we would like to remind all residents to be prepared for at-home emergencies by ensuring all your smoke alarms and carbon monoxide detectors are fully functional, and having a functioning fire extinguisher in your home and or garage. Prepare a fire home escape plan and practice that with all your family members. Lastly, take necessary steps to minimize risks that can result in fire, such as electric outlets with multiple appliances, space heaters, not placing space heaters close to furniture and draperies, not overloading electrical outlets with multiple appliances, and never leaving food on the stove unattended. In addition to these safety tips, I invite your council and all attending members of the public to review our family instructions for rapid escape, which we call FIRE program. Get acquainted with how to evacuate yourself and all members of the family safely and efficiently from a burning structure. An adult and a child version are available on our website under the FIRE program, and that can be reached at fire.lacounty.gov. Thank you for your time.
Mayor, that concludes the request that I've received.
Thank you. At this moment, if you didn't fill out a speaker card and you'd like to speak, now is your time. You can just start forming no need to raise hands, just form a line. Form a line, you'll be okay.
Hi, good night. Here with my dad. The reason we're here today is, well, near where our house is, there's not much parking. There's little to none, and sometimes we have to walk like a couple blocks just to have a parking. The reason is because he's gotten a couple citations. Oh, sorry. He's gotten a couple citations just for being like 2 inches onto the red. He drives a really big van. So sometimes the car in back of him takes most of the spot, and he's gotten a couple citations. He doesn't work every day, so it's kind of hard for him to be able to pay these fines. Yeah, so he's asking me to just specify that just because he has a really large car, there's no wheel on the red, it's just for the front bumper. So most of his concern was just that there's not a lot of parking in the space, and seeing how I myself have to walk a couple blocks when I get home from work or something and it's really dark. As well, his main concern was that he does have some citations, so he was kind of asking or wondering what can be done for this and how could he take care of these citations, or is there any way to decrease the fines for him? That was it.
Yes, you're gonna have to. Okay. Just in case, city clerk will get your information down. Okay.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. If anybody else is looking to speak, you may do so now.
Good evening, Mayor, the council member, and everybody here. My name is Tuan Lee, and I am here today on my own account to show support for Chief Lopez. I have been employed by the City of Baldwin Park Police Department for the past 13 years and have served under 6 different chiefs. By far, in my opinion and experience, Chief Lopez has been the most effective chief who has showed exceptional leadership quality and compassion towards all of us. It has come to my attention and others that have come in front of you to speak against the chief, and at least one of them never had the pleasure or opportunity to actually work under Chief Lopez. With that being said, I believe it is important that on my behalf and behalf of my brother and sister here, we show our support to Chief Lopez. It is no secret that prior to Chief Lopez, this department has many challenges in the past that has kicked off various lawsuits against the city. The environment at the department before Chief Lopez was deteriorated and caused the morale to be at the lowest point. Officer retired and left, which amplified the low morale. I have always loved this department and this community, but because of my personal experience and what I witnessed happening around me with people that had been put into leadership position, I was doing everything I could to leave. Once Chief Lopez was hired as a chief, I have witnessed him work diligently and to restore the reputation and integrity of this department. Chief Lopez leads by example and treats us with dignity and compassion while holding us accountable when necessary. Chief Lopez has hired lieutenant and promoted sergeant who are exceptional in promoting the mission of statement of our department. This department is not going to change overnight. There has been a lot of damages done in the past, and it will take time for Chief Lopez and his administration to fix many issues he inherited. But he's working very hard to do so, and I can honestly tell you I have seen great result. I no longer fear to come to work wondering what will happen. I no longer feel the stress and sickness of always having to look over my shoulder. Now, I enjoy coming to work and look forward to serve the community. I cannot speak for others here, but their presence here should speak volume to you. Finally, I stand here and can honestly tell you that in my opinion, Chief Lopez is a leader this department has been waiting for and needing to help it move forward. It is no secret he has taken many hits from certain individuals and certain social media accounts who have questioned his integrity and his leadership ability. In my eyes, he possesses the leadership skill needed to run this department, because when others have abandoned this department and its member, he continued to fight for the people who makes this organization great. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and council members. My name is Elizabeth Pareda. I am the dispatch supervisor for the Baldwin Park Police Department. Ordinarily, you will not find me in the middle of any city discourse. I am here today because I felt compelled to come forth and state my support for Chief Lopez. He is unassuming, kind, empathetic, and ethical. And at no point have I believed him to be disingenuous. It's unfortunate that disgruntled employees are now using residents and friends to come here and read a scripted diatribe. The former dispatcher who voiced her concerns and who resigned in an email to pursue an opportunity that would further her educational goals, left on good terms, and never once voiced dissatisfaction with the department. She also has never worked for Chief Lopez, and from the sounds of it, has never interacted with him personally. Therefore, her opinions need to be taken with a grain of salt. She's a very close friend of the officer she vehemently defended while making accusations about something that she was not privy to, and a lot of people were not privy to. Unfortunately, we live in an era in which people believe everything they read and are told. It should have behooved her to look into said allegations before coming before a public panel and espousing or regurgitating information she had obviously been coached on. I bear no ill will against this young lady or even the people who put her up to this. But if we are going to have a dialogue, then the public has a right to hear from all sides. The people who post on social media can hide behind a meme or a username while not giving one solution to any of the issues they find so problematic. If you want to know the truth, go talk to that person and listen to what they have to say. Don't besmirch the reputation of a man that doesn't need to be here, but wants to be here, cares about this community and this department and his employees. And I'm running out of time, so I won't say it in Spanish, but thank you for your time.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. My name is Andres Villalobos. I'm currently the Vice President of the Baldwin Park Police Association and a detective of the City of Baldwin Park. What I'm about to say is my opinion and mine alone. I'm honored to stand here and support Chief Robert Lopez. He is precisely what this department and city needs, a leader with solid morals and honesty. His integrity reinforces the Baldwin Park mission statement and the community's expectation of professional policing. Chief Lopez has been taking unfair criticism from community members because they believe a cowardly social media profile that spins a cancerous narrative to fit their agenda without laying out all the facts. Also, I'm aware of a former employee, current Baldwin Park resident, Gabby Ortiz, who spoke at the last meeting and mentioned the state of the department. I do agree with Ms. Ortiz. In 2018, the department was a disaster, a sinking ship, and full of corruption, which had to do with former council members and others running this department for their own political and personal gain. This caused around 10 qualified Baldwin Park officers to lateral out of this department. Chief Lopez was hired in 2020, so I wonder how Gabby Ortiz can speak on the state of the department with such confidence and make claims about a vote of no confidence held by officers of Baldwin Park when they never occurred. Chief Lopez inherited an understaffed, unmotivated, and cancerous department. Chief Lopez has staffed this department in 2 years with captains, lieutenants, sergeants, and officers. He has also worked closely with the city council to unfreeze multiple positions, still due to the numerous officers not working for various reasons. We have yet to be able to reap the benefits. Those officers who are off for various reasons have been off before Chief Lopez arrived. Also, blaming Chief Lopez for terminating former officer Martin Herrera as a cover-up to hide Herrera's sexual harassment claim is a lie. Former Officer Herrera's claims, which are serious, were investigated by the city and the courts of LA County, which both found no evidence. The courts dismissed the case with prejudice. This is all public record. The firing of former Officer Herrera is unfortunate, and I have no idea the reason for his termination, but anyone here can ask for the public records and get the truth rather than believe a social media post. I close by saying this. Chief Lopez has served over 40 years in law enforcement. He has earned the right, which we as officers, as humans, all wish to reach one day, retirement. He could be with his wife, his kids, his grandchildren, and enjoying that. But he chooses every day to come to work for the city of Baldwin Park and take all this criticism because he loves this community and this department. Even though I don't speak on behalf of everyone, you can see by the people here today from this department, standing in unity should speak volumes. I am honored to be here and serve under Chief Lopez.
Good evening. My name is Norman Gonzalez. I have many family members and friends in Baldwin Park.
I am also a sergeant with the Baldwin Park Police Department and a member of the Police Officers Association for approximately 15 years. I speak now as a POA member. Before becoming a police officer, I served 13 years in the United States Marine Corps. I served my country during times of peace and times of conflict. I am proud to say that I am a combat veteran, having served 2 tours of duty in Iraq. In my time of public service, I have worked alongside many men and women also serving their country and communities. I feel confident in saying that I have a better understanding of good leadership qualities than most. I know that good leaders possess self-awareness, garner credibility, focus on relationship building, have a bias for action, exhibit humility, empowers others, stay authentic, presents themselves as constant and consistent, become role models, and are fully present. Those of us who truly care about this community and are free from their own self-serving interests heard what I just said and instantly knew that I was describing Chief Robert Lopez. Those thoroughly familiar with the Baldwin Park Police Department, not through rumors, but with solid facts, know what a chaotic state of affairs Chief Lopez inherited when he courageously accepted the temporary chief's position and ultimately the permanent position. Having worked with unqualified and bad leadership in the past, I know what the cost is working with inadequate leaders. Bad leaders cost their organizations in terms of reduced productivity and employee satisfaction. In law enforcement, it means that you sacrifice the very people you swore to protect simply because you lost your sense of obligation and commitment. Through his leadership, Chief Lopez has reinstalled the dedication to duty into the officers whose motivation was withered down by a handful of condescending, self-serving, self-aggrandizing, narcissistic individuals within the police department, including past members of this city council. Unfortunately, he is still receiving resistance to improve the department from those individuals and for sure one member of this city council. Chief Lopez has inspired the officers who truly care about the city of Baldwin Park the importance of protecting the community members from harm and annoyance. Through his leadership, he has reminded his officers how noble of a profession we have and how much obligation we have to the community we are entrusting with protecting. He has taught those who genuinely care that self-sacrifice for the greater good is a guiding principle to fulfill our oath as police officers in the city of Baldwin Park. Despite the secret plans devised to accomplish an evil and treacherous end to Chief Lopez's tenure by certain members of this department and that one city council member, he has exceeded his work performance expectation and has made us all better. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, everyone. Just to make it clear, I'm here on my day off. My name is Jessica Serrano. I have been a police officer with the City of Baldwin Park for over a decade. Approximately 3 years ago, the City of Baldwin Park hired a new police chief, Chief Lopez. Since then, the department has evolved into being more proactive and a pleasant place to work. Chief Lopez works together with city leaders to unfreeze numerous of the police officer positions that were once frozen by previous administrations. Although we have not been able to benefit from those unfrozen positions because we all know that there's currently numerous officers off, he continues to work hard and diligently to staff our department. Recently, Chief Lopez's leadership and integrity have been attacked by social media accounts and individuals that have not had the opportunity to meet him, yet alone work with him. Today, I stand here in support of our chief because who knows him better than the people that work next to him? Chief Lopez, thank you for everything you've done and continue to being the great leader that you are.
Jesse Plata, resident from Baldwin Park. I don't work for the police department. so I don't have to be kissing up or covering for somebody. But I do live here. I shop right here, I walk right here, and I mingle right here. Just yesterday, when I went out on my walk, why do I see 4 cars, no license plates? They're doing a beautiful job. Now they're gonna tell me that's not my job. I didn't come here to talk about this, but after hearing all this, officers, they're employed right there. They better say something nice about their boss. What happened just this past year? Houses that nothing more but having drugs right across school. Has crime gone down? Yes, he inherited probably not the best. And you want to ask me about Martin Herrera? I knew him, and he had the highest record of recovering cars that were stolen. He was trained, the only one that had training for K-9 training. And all of a sudden, everybody's against him. Everybody has to side with a chief. Now, I do want to say, I didn't come here, but hearing this, something else. I want to give thanks to the 2 members that hadn't been here. And you have to go out in the community and find out what really is going on. If you don't mingle with the community, you don't know what's going on out there. You all staying locked up and just come in here. The only time you show up anytime is when it's time to take a picture and promote yourself. Anybody wants to walk with me, I will point out all the violations that I see. And there's also a lot of threats that I get, but I'm old enough to know how to sidestep.
Don Rios, resident, 45 years. But the officers came over and praised the chief. I praised him too. Because I see him all over the city. He never stop and talk or anything. But I see him probably more often than I saw any other chief. Okay? Like I mentioned the last time, he inherited a chief of police that was, he had to make a job and take care of all the cancer that was inside of it. He has done it. I see that the officers on the street, they seem more relaxed, more caring for the community. Yeah, there's a lot of things in the community that's wrong. There's cars that are, doesn't have plates and stuff like that. Most of the times when I come to the city council, I have one of the lieutenants and I give them the information and they take care of it. I don't come to the police department to report little things like that. They have other bigger things to take care of, but they are taking care of the community. The community feels more safe now than they have done in the past 10 years. They know that if they flag down a police officer, they will stop and they'll take care of them. Like I mentioned, Chief, good job, Another thing is that the last city council that we came to, this thing on Olive and Main, doing that turnaround thing. The studies has already been done. The community didn't want it then, and they don't want it now. You're just blocking the traffic. Come here at 6 o'clock in the morning or in the afternoon and look at all the traffic that's backed up. Since those little wondering things about putting the street one way, all the way to the Puente. You know. But it's something that you already have studies. Why are you going to spend another what? How much is it? $70,000, $100,000 for another study? You know. Thank you.
Buenas noches a todos, me llamo Abel, vivo en Baldwin Park por 40 años más o menos y esto es lo que voy a explicarles ahora, que ahora tenemos creo que suficientes policías para que vigilen más para la área donde estamos nosotros con nuestros negocios y yo veo que no para aquel lado no están vigilando mucho. Yo chequeo por mis cámaras de mi casa en el día y yo veo que yo nunca veo un policía allí. No sé por qué no vayan para ese rumbo, porque todos tenemos el mismo derecho de que anden vigilando por todos lados. Primero porque no haya policías, ahora hay más policías. Hay que vigilar más porque hay mucho vandalismo, mucha basura, muchos homeless. Ahora en la mañana pasé y ayer, bueno, todos los días paso y ahí paso junto a la Walmart. Y hay demasiada basura, feo que se ve, graffiti. Y si no lo borra la ciudad hasta que vean el county no viene hasta por un mes, 2 meses. Necesitamos que se quite eso para que se vea bonita la ciudad. Y creo que entre los homeless hay unos que venden drogas ahí también. Yo le expliqué al jefe de policía, un oficial, y dijo que ya sabía quién era, pero no lo remueven. Ese hombre, si no lo remueven, está empeorando más a la ciudad, trayendo más homeless. Y no es homeless, es una persona que anda haciendo drogas con ellos, la vende. Yo todos los días ando chequeando y pues, hay que limpiar la ciudad, por favor. Se ve un poquito mal. Y vigilar más, por favor, ¿ok? Gracias, es todo.
Good evening to all. My name is Abel. I've been in Baldwin Park, residing here for over 40 years, more or less. And I will say the following. There's not sufficient officers in the city to watch over all areas. For example, at home, I have cameras and such, and I don't see officers patrolling those areas. And I think we all have a right to be provided with this surveillance. There's a lot of vandalism and there's a homelessness. And yesterday, for example, I went to Walmart and I was able to see that there's graffiti in some areas and they need to clean this up. Another homeless was selling drugs. Apparently, among the homeless, there are some people who sell drugs. I told one of the police officers this, but there was no action taken. It's a homeless individual. We need to clean up the city a little bit more. There's some areas that are kind of run down, and that we need a little bit more surveillance. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Gabby, but I'm sure you already heard. I want to say that last meeting has caused a lot of stir. Where were these people last week for Chief Lopez? I didn't see anybody speak and give their opinion. And I'm here being humble. Last week was my personal opinion. Yes, I am no longer part of this police department and I never worked under Chief Lopez, but my family lives here. I am a longtime resident. I visit the city. I am alumni here. So I have every right to speak on behalf of my opinion. I will tell you this, and I'm not sure if anybody knows, but all these people that were speaking are part of the association and protecting the chief of police. These guys, ladies and gentlemen, are all advocates of the chief. So last week they weren't here, but all of a sudden, now that I spoke up, one person spoke up. Everybody is voicing their opinion on behalf of him. This is disgusting. That's all I have to say. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, everybody. Sorry, I wasn't planning on speaking, but I wanted to come up here and clarify what Gabby just told you. We were all upset, of course, because of all the things that were being said about Chief Lopez. He's a great leader. And just to clarify what Gabby said, there's only, out of all of our full-time employees, we're all association members except for one who's never been a part of our association. So just wanted to clear that up. Thank you.
Anyone else looking to speak?
Mayor, before you close, I have a public speaker who texted Beatriz Sandoval she couldn't be here. Want me to go ahead and read it now?
Yes, Councilmember.
All right. I'm sorry I can't be there tonight to support the motion to renew Police Chief Robert Lopez contract. I want to say that as highly committed Baldwin Park resident, I appreciate and value Chief Lopez's leadership in these 2 years. He has built credibility, trust that under other directors there never was. Under the leadership of Chief Lopez, we can live in a community where we feel we belong, where we can have a conversation without fear, but with respect. That is what we residents have from his professionalism. Thank you, others, councilors, and Enrique for making a fair and responsible evaluation and choosing Chief Lopez without allowing the influence of friends or paying favors. We already had a lot of that in the past administrations, and we have paid a very high price for that irresponsibility. I want to motivate you to renew the contract for Chief Robert Lopez. Sincerely, Beatriz Sandoval. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you for that. Seeing that nobody else is looking to speak, I will move to close public communication. We do have a consent calendar, and we will address the item when we get to it. As of now, we do have a consent calendar. We have items 1 through 11. Is there any items council is looking to pull? If not, I will pull item number 9. If there's no more items, I will make a motion to pass consent calendars, items 1 through 11, excluding item number 9. Can I get a second?
Second.
City Clerk, roll call, please.
Mayor Estrada,
Yes.
Councilmember Damian,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia,
Yes.
Councilmember Ayala.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
So item number 9 is a very, a really good opportunity for the city. I know Sam and Enrique have been working hard on this. I know that we mentioned that we would want to add electrify our fleet, but also add chargers in the downtown, which makes people want to come out here, charge their cars, and walk to downtown and hopefully spend some money. If you want to give us a quick overview of the 2 applications.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So this item will authorize staff to submit 2 applications to Edison for their Charge Ready light duty program. That's one of them, and then their medium to heavy duty program. Their light charge-ready program will bring a total of 16 stations to the Metrolink station and the downtown parking area along Little Ramona. 16 EV stations are proposed under this project. As soon as we submit the application, Edison will start doing the feasibility study for the sites. Also, we'll be applying for the charge-ready medium-duty program, which will allow us to construct a fast-charging EV station at our city yard. And all of this is to get us ready for an electrified future.
Really nice. And I think it's really important. You know, we talk about it all the time. You know, the surrounding freeways, having 3 surrounding freeways on the south side of Baldwin Park and having 3 quarries on the north side of Baldwin Park really does affect our ability to have clean air and a quality of life that's healthy for our residents. It's important knowing that we are a working class community where people make less than $70,000 as a family, making sure that we have those healthy options for them and removing those socioeconomic barriers. But it also has a possibility to electrify our fleet, save money, and kind of lead in the San Gabriel Valley. So I think it's a great project, and we are working on a medium fleet. So Sam, if it's okay with council, I would like for you to consider all the options. I know a lot of our fleet is a little bit depleted. I think last time I got an email that one of the seniors was on the dial-a-ride and he asked for the air to be turned on or off, and they said they couldn't because the bus would turn off, right? And so that's not the type of quality that we want to have for our residents, especially when there's an abundant amount of rebates and grants out there that can really help us move towards the future and save some dollars. I think we currently fund our, you know how much we currently spend on our public transit alone on the Baldwin Park bus?
On the transit program?
Yeah.
It's about $1.7 million.
So if we could find a way to shave off of that and save money there, what else could we use those funds for?
So a range of things. One of the things, as you mentioned earlier, which is incidental, is that our dial-a-ride buses are in bad shape. So we have gotten a grant to replace one of them, which is on order, and it is a electrical vehicle. But to supplement other buses, this funding that would be freed up would be perfect for things of that nature.
Well, I think we're in the right place, right? Especially as California moves towards a cleaner future by 2035, 2045, depending on the state law. But it's really nice. I wanted to just make sure staff was aware of this, and of course the community, so that they know that we are starting to really move towards a really strong infrastructure in the downtown. I don't know if any questions or comments from staff or council.
I have a question for Sam. Sam, our dial-a-ride, is that still a contract with STI?
Yes.
And is that a separate contract than what we're taking up this evening?
Yes, absolutely. So this evening, we're just approving authorization for staff to submit for the SCE rebate program to install EV stations.
Right. Okay. That's what I understood. Thank you. And then as far as the STI contract, when is that up? So we can, take a closer look at that.
Yes. So that was recently extended for 1 year while we get ready to perform an RFP process to take a look at it again.
And then I think at that point we can look at improvements to that process and those vehicles.
Yeah. And so that contract will come back to the council in September.
Okay, good. We'll be looking out. Thank you.
Great. Any other comments or questions? I'll make a motion to pass item number 9. Can I get a second? City Clerk, roll call, please.
Mayor Estrada.
Yes.
Councilmember Damian.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia.
Yes.
Councilmember Ayala.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Great, thank you for that. So we do move on to our public hearing. We do have a Baldwin Park Home ARP allocation plan. Ron, do you want to take the lead on this?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Council, I have a short presentation. Just wait for the PowerPoint to come up. Next slide. Mayor, City Council, before you is a consideration of approval of the Baldwin Park Home ARP allocation plan. Back in 2001, HUD announced for the city to receive a little over $1 million for home ARP. Congress, with the American Rescue Plan that was approved, also allocated an additional $5 billion through the home program. In order for the city to receive the funding, city is required to submit a home ARP allocation plan. Draft has been attached with the staff report, which primarily benefits qualifying populations, and those include individuals and families who are homeless, at risk of homelessness, and other vulnerable populations. ARP defines those qualifying individuals as, again, homeless, those at risk of homelessness, also fleeing or attempting to flee domestic violence, sexual assault, stalking, or human trafficking. The other is populations where providing supporting services or assistance would prevent a family's homelessness or would serve those with greatest risk of housing instability. And then lastly, veterans and families that include a veteran family member that meet the criteria of one of those that I listed. Next slide. The home program includes 4 activities: development and support of affordable housing, tenant-based rental assistance, and provision for supportive services, which I'll go over in detail in the later slides. And then lastly, acquisition and development of non-congregant shelter units. Next slide. During the release of the draft of the home ARP plan, staff consulted with stakeholders who work with the qualifying populations that I just described that would inform the development of the home ARP plan. The recommendation is to utilize the home ARP funding on 2 activities, one being supportive services for the unhoused and the implementation of a tenant-based rental assistance program. And this includes enhancing the services that are already being provided by the service provider at both Esperanza Villa and Serenity Homes. And then second, while the draft was out, in working with staff, concluded that it would be great, given that we have a successful program that occurred in the past with the housing staff, is the tenant-based rental assistance. The other is enhancing homeless services that are already provided by Lakata. And just to give you a brief overview, next slide. The tenant-based rental assistance, known as TBRA, is a rental subsidy to help individual households afford housing costs such as rent and security deposits. It also assists with utility deposits but only when associated with the home ARP, when it's used for rental assistance or security deposits. It was back in 2008 that the city administered this exact program for 2 years, which utilized the existing housing choice voucher waiting list to select the participants. The criteria would be that applicants must live in Baldwin Park and remain in Baldwin Park while receiving assistance. And to give a little more detail on this one, is both Esperanza and Serenity Villa qualifies those families and those that are residing at Esperanza Villa qualify because they would qualify as residents because they're residing in the city of Baldwin Park. And by participating in the program would not affect their status on their current waiting list with the housing choice voucher. Next slide. So in conclusion, staff does recommend that the City Council approve the city's home ARP allocation plan. Plan is due, again, given due to the time constraints, is due to HUD on March 31st. So with your support, again, this is general. We have built it in that it's flexible. We would be coming back once we submit the home ARP plan to HUD. We would be coming back to the council for approval of allocation of how those funds would be allocated for those efforts that I just described. One for enhancing the services for homelessness for both Esperanza and Serenity, and then also enhancing our homeless services through La Cara, and then adding the rental assistance program. Answer any questions.
Mayor, I have some questions. So, Ron, thank you for the presentation, and I'm glad to hear that this program will still focus on prevention of homeless, right? And so I think what I understand from reading the report is we'll be able to identify more specifically how these funds are administered through the NOFA process, right?
Correct.
So we'll be able to, let's say there's need to assist in preventing homelessness, we'll be able to take that up in the NOFA process. And then same goes for addressing existing unhoused residents, right?
Correct. And one thing I'm sorry, I apologize, I missed it, but one of the key things in communicating with staff is both Serenity and Esperanza Villa is being able to fill that gap, and with the rental assistance, and through working with and understanding the difficulties for those that are residing there, is being able to transition to a permanent housing. And so by allowing for rental assistance, utility bills, security deposits, allows for them to transition out, to find something that's more stable from what's being offered to them at Serenity and at Esperanza Villa.
Right. That's obviously very important. I also want to think about outside of the villages. We have residents across our community that need assistance, and we need to do what we can to prevent them from becoming homeless. And you mentioned back in 2008 during the Great Recession, you know, those programs that we initiated back then for those same reasons, because we recognize that unemployment was at an all-time high. You know, the risk of becoming homeless was very high for, you know, just everyday residents across the city. So just wanted to make sure that what this plan builds in that flexibility so we can decide how that's allocated moving forward.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. Thank you.
I do have a quick question, Mayor. So the purpose of this, Ron, is to give this report to HUD so that they can approve it. Once we have approval from HUD, then you're going to come back to us and we're going to designate how we're going to allocate these funds?
Correct. Within the activities that I just listed.
Got it.
It is in its draft plan. Again, if needed, we could go back and make an amendment to the plan and resubmit to HUD. But we have to stay as I described, as proposed in the draft plan to HUD, is for those enhanced services for homeless. And then the addition that we would be making would be to add in the TBRA, the tenant-based rental assistance program. So it's essentially just a general plan, and then we would be coming back with the specifics, as you mentioned, of how we would allocate those funds within those efforts.
But based on this report that you're going to submit to HUD, we can't make an amendment after you've submitted it to HUD, correct? As to where we're going to allocate? Other than, so as an example, you know, we had the chief here, the fire chief here earlier, who, you know, spoke about the fires. As you know, we've had quite a few families that were displaced because of fires that, you know, that have occurred. And although the American Red Cross does a really great job with assisting these families, would it be a possibility to use some of this funding to kind of have in a little pot there to where we can say, okay, we as a city can step in and assist these families with either extended voucher stay or whatever it may be? Would this plan that you're submitting to HUD, would this fall under that category? Would HUD allow us to use these funds for that purpose?
So what we could do, and this is why this is in its draft form, so I can take the council's comments and I can reach out to our HUD representative. If it is that it's a qualified activity, we'll go ahead and insert it in the plan and submit it to HUD within the deadline this month. So I can do that.
Okay, I mean, I don't know how the rest of my council colleagues feel, but I would encourage that we try to see if we can get that included within the plan so that we do have a safety net for some of our families that
I
suffer
agree.
from fires?
Absolutely. I would say, I mean, not even specific to fires, but just any,
Displacement?
sure, any displacement. And so that's why I was asking about the flexibility too, Ron, of prevention of homelessness and then also helping, those unhoused. So I agree with you that we don't want to make it so narrow,
Yes, yes.
And if we need to reference the example made by Councilmember Damian specifically, then let's do that. Because I do think I agree with you 100% that, there are families that have been displaced because of fire and other types of conditions, if you will. And how can we help them through these funds is the question.
So I'm going to take these comments back, and the next step is to go back to our HUD rep. If it is qualified, we'll go ahead and add it into the plan and then submit it to HUD.
Perfect. Thank you, Ron. Appreciate it.
Yeah. And then just to be clear, that would potentially include, I just want to note, I agree with all of you, it is really important. I know that we sometimes rely on the CES, but it's very slow. We do need the city to have its own resources, especially for like overnight vouchers. A lot of those numbers are only business hours, and a lot of these people need the help in the middle of the night. So something to keep in mind when we navigate that.
Yes. And speaking with staff, I think they had indicated, especially with those services offered by Lakata, increasing the number of days. Right now we're at 3 days, Manny? At 3 days, and looking out and providing and stepping that up to maybe 7 days a week.
Yeah.
So that way we can get the assistance out there.
Yeah, sounds good. All right. So, public hearing, it is recommended the city council conduct a public hearing to consider approving the city's home ARP allocation plans due to HUD by March 31st, 2023. So at this moment, I will officially open the public hearing regarding item 12, Baldwin Park Home ARP allocation plan. Is there anybody looking to speak in favor or opposition? And now is your time. Seeing that nobody is looking to speak on the item, I will move to close public hearing and make a motion to receive, well, there's no comment on the public hearing, but go ahead and approve the city staff's recommendation along with the added comments from our council. Can I get a second?
Second.
City clerk, roll call, please.
Mayor Estrada,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia,
Yes.
Councilmember Ayala,
Yes.
Councilmember Damian.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Then we have public hearing to consider resolution setting cannabis permit application fees and resolution setting the maximum number of commercial cannabis cultivation, distribution, and manufacturing permits. And it is recommended that the city council open the public hearing and consider any testimony concerning the adoption of the administrative fees and close the public hearings and adopt the following resolutions. At this moment, I will move to open the public hearing for anybody looking to speak in favor or opposition of item 13. Is anybody looking to speak? If not, at this moment, I will close the public hearing and pass it on to.
Just before you close that public hearing, I did want to make sure that the council is aware, we did receive one letter in opposition to the adoption of these resolutions. That has been provided to you. Went to you by email.
Great, thank you. Is that something we should note for the record?
Yes.
All right, so city clerk, no. So at this moment, there is nobody looking to speak. So at this moment, we are closed and we do have a time for comments or questions from staff or council. Not, I will note that this is particularly, item 13 is particularly measure CB, is that correct?
Yes, this the first resolution is the fee resolution, which is in essence required by Measure CB for us to have applications. What we're going to do in this case is to have an application system that is based on a time materials basis. And so we're not establishing a fixed fee. What we're going to do is calculate that fee as the application is processed. Ron can provide you more details regarding that. The second resolution refers to the recently conducted first reading of the ordinance that recodified and renumbered Measure CB as well as your current cannabis provisions. It made one amendment to your current cannabis provisions that establishes the number of cultivation, distribution, manufacturing permits by separate resolution of the city council. So rather than have it in the ordinance, now we're going to establish that number by separate resolution. And this one establishes that number at 21 as directed by the council during your last discussion on this item. Both of these resolutions will become, the second resolution regarding the number of permits will become effective upon the effective date of the ordinance. We will bring back second reading of that ordinance at your next meeting so that we can comply with the publishing requirements.
Great. So just, I guess to take note, letter is regarding Measure C.
Yeah, the letter basically has issues with provisions of Measure CB and requests that the council not take any actions related to Measure CB. Our recommendation is, of course, that you move forward. We are under a obligation because it was a voter initiative that was passed by Baldwin Park voters. We are under a duty to implement Measure CB. So until we get a court order that says that there's some problem with it, we're going to move full speed ahead with implementing its directives.
Great, thank you for that. So I think that was an important comment. So after that, I will make a motion to pass both resolutions. Do I have to read them out by name? Great, so can I have a second?
Second.
City Clerk, roll call, please.
Mayor Estrada,
Yes.
Councilmember Damian.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia,
I'll abstain on this one. Thank you.
Councilmember Ayala.
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0 with one abstention.
Great, thank you for that. So at this moment, we are at reports of officers, adoption of resolution number 2023-006 for city council appointments of official representatives and alternates to various agencies, organizations. I will make a motion to move that to the next city council meeting. Can I get a second? Second. City Clerk, roll call, please.
Mayor Estrada,
Yes.
Councilmember Damian. Yes. Mayor Pro Tem Garcia,
Yes.
Councilmember Ayala.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you for that. We move on to reports of officers. Consideration of First Amendment to Chief of Police Employment Agreement, Robert A. Lopez. It is recommended the City Council approve the First Amendment to the Chief of Police Employment Agreement. Obviously, a big talk topic here in the City Council. We heard from everybody, and that's fine. We did hear from the POA. POA and their residents have every ability to come out here and speak, and vice versa, right? If you're in opposition, you can speak here. If you're not in opposition, you can speak. Everybody has a right to come out here and speak under the Brown Act. With that being said, I do have to agree that Robert Lopez has been incredibly politicized on social media, and unfortunately, it is coming from people from inside City Hall. It's no secret that Chief Lopez has been here for 2 years, making him the longest-serving chief in a very long time. This idea that we sit here and that we allow things to happen that are not okay are simply not okay. This idea that we fired people because they speak up or because they say they make allegations of sexual abuse are incredibly not okay. And I don't take it lightly to make those types of accusations when serious accusations like that are warranted for investigation and for serious consideration. But as I did mention, that lawsuit was dismissed and the city did win, and that was over a year ago. Police officers don't just get fired from one day to the next. They have an amazing set of protections for them. And that includes POBAR, the Police Officers' Bill of Rights, which means that they have an incredible amount of protection, and there's just no way to fire them from one day to the next. We would be having a full lawsuit regarding any of that. Police officers, if I'm not mistaken, almost all of them are part of a union one way or another, and that union where they pay union fees is there to protect them and offer them attorneys for their litigation and their claims, which we've seen multiple times before Chief Lopez came here. Me personally speaking, this idea that council is not aware of what goes on or that we're not out there and that we just show up for photo ops is incredibly not true. And I speak for myself. I spend a multitude of time with all of the departments. Some might say that I even micromanage, which is not true. But I make sure that I follow up with all of staff, and I talk to all of the staff, not just our higher ups, and I see how they're feeling, how they're doing. Because I understand that we have workers here, that City Hall and government doesn't run on its own, that we have real working people here and that they deserve dignity and respect, that they deserve to enjoy where they work. when I first hired Chief, I made it very clear to him that one of the most important things to me were making sure that we change the city, the image of not just the city, but of the police department. The police department, as all of you know, was under scrutiny for the longest amount of time, costing the city hundreds of thousands of dollars in litigation, and we're still going with it. To say that all of a sudden we've changed that is just not true. Chief, I told you that, and I've told many of the officers that were here, as I do ride-alongs with them, that we are here to support the Baldwin Park Police Department and our staff, but it doesn't mean that it's blind support. It means that if we see something that's wrong, we're going to call it out. And we did that. We've had other lawsuits, and we've never been secretive about them. You read the newspaper, we always give a statement, we always talk about them, and that's what it is. We push for transparency, for more transparency than we could have. And they did note something very important. Chief Lopez doesn't have to be here. He could be at home, retired after 40 years of service to the community, but he chooses to be here. And he chooses to be here at an incredibly low rate, probably the lowest paid currently chief in the San Gabriel Valley. And so, interestingly enough, people want to politicize that pay. Chief is the only member that's come in at step one in the last, and I mean in years. Other chiefs have been hired at step 3, step 5, and as many of you know, some of them were even able to write their own contract. Nobody said anything during that. So it is no secret that Chief has been heavily politicized, but he has gotten a lot of the work done. And I can name a few things. We implemented the flock system that's helped our patrol officers be able to arrest people with dangerous warrants out for them. And we were able to do that with, and actually stop a domestic violence dispute. We've implemented more transparencies than ever before. Tasers, when tasers are deployed, when code 3 lights are turned on, police vehicles and body cameras now turn on. So this idea that we're trying to hide any of this doesn't make any sense. And I think it's great. I think it's great that people show concern and that they want to come up here and that they want to speak up. That's where I was before I was up here. But if you want to do that, you need to do the research. Why are we listening to social media accounts where don't even show their face? Why are we taking a Yelp screenshot as a real source? These are public documents. If you can't find your way through the court system, you can come to the city hall and you can request a PRA and you can request those documents and we will give them to you. Because under law, we're obligated to do so. But to smear somebody because you don't like the way things are, it doesn't work that way. And it doesn't work that way in government. Government is going to change time and time again because it goes the way the voters want it to go. As I mentioned, Chief has done a great amount of work. Is there a lot of work to do? By far. The Chief has changed a lot of these. And it takes time. Government itself takes time. And I've said that time and time again. We don't just hire officers. It takes 2 years on average to get an officer on patrol by himself. At the last council meeting, I heard somebody talk about sheriffs, that we see all these sheriffs and that we see all these highway patrols. That's honestly not true. And if you were to compare us to a California highway patrol makes over 6 figures, incomparable to a city department. The sheriffs currently right now, the current graduating classes are on the verge of going straight to patrol because they do not have enough people and the jails are empty. So this idea that we're seeing everybody apply everywhere else is just not true. There's crime, there's things to deal with after the pandemic, and there's always going to be things to deal with the pandemic. There is no city that has zero crime. Things have been exacerbated at the pandemic, but we've stayed on top of it and we've done what we can with the resources we have. And I stand by Chief because he's been honest about everything and he understands that we need to be on a different path than we were before. And not everybody's gonna like that. I don't disagree. There's 75,000 residents here. There's no way that every single one of us are gonna agree on every single little thing. But we've been transparent and we've been honest about everything we do. And Chief came in through a very transparent process. We could have hired somebody else, but we didn't. We went down the list and we felt that Chief was the most qualified to be here. And he has stepped up. Not just the flock system, the rearrangement of the police department to get rid of a unnecessary assistant chief of police position, which would have only bloated the budget of the police department when we could be hiring more officers. He's hired officers, he's hired dispatchers. We've set some of the best incentives to make people want to come here. And we've made sure that they are well equipped with everything they need to be safe and efficient. And that's just government, it's process, it takes time. When we hire people without a due process, we do risk the well-being of our community. Because officers don't just jump from place to place. They stay in one place. And if you hire someone that wasn't capable of understanding the needs of your community, that person is going to be in your community for a very long time. So it is something that we all want to do. It's something that we're all working for. It's all something that we're aware of. And Chief is one of those people. So just want to I want to express my support. And if any other council members have any other comments, they are free to do so.
Mayor, of course, I have comments. I'm sure all of us do, right? Well, Chief, can you tell us when you were first introduced to the city of Baldwin Park as Chief of Police or interim Chief of Police?
I think it was February of 2020, just before the pandemic started, and then we rolled into the pandemic.
I think it was 2019.
No, ma'am.
No?
Because I was still retired.
Didn't you serve as an interim before you
Yes, ma'am.
came on full time?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah.
I have to verify the dates.
I know we'd have to look back, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I was trying to recall when you joined us, and I thought it was the latter part of 2019. Were you with us during COVID?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So do we remember?
So perhaps one way to set up a marker that may remind both of you, his permanent appointment was in February of 2021.
What was the interim?
So if he served about a year interim, 6 months.
6 months.
So his interim would have been in 2020.
Sometime in the summer of 2020, because I think we hired him as a permanent chief
In February.
in January, February of 21, because that was when we had just came in.
Right.
So I think he was, you were here for most part of the, well, pretty much all of the pandemic, but I believe Chief McLean was here when the
first-
pandemic first started in March.
Okay, yeah.
And I think you were brought in as an interim sometime in, I want to say either
July,
June through
August.
August. Yeah,
Okay.
somewhere around there in 2020.
But it was
Thank you.
definitely
This is-
2020.
Yes, it was. I believe it was July. You're correct.
Yeah, I didn't know it was going to lead to this full, robust conversation with everybody engaging, but I was really trying hard to remember when you were first introduced to the city. And yeah, I want to say it may have been like August, September of 2020. So you've now been with us a little more than 2 years, right? To about 2.5 years. And I just want to say that when you came on board, I feel like, as a council member, I've been there before, but trying to bring stability to the police department. And, it has been an interesting history with our chiefs. As we know, a couple were dismissed and then sued the city. And one abruptly left, sued the city. And so there has been a lot of challenge in this police department. But in addition to that, I would say that even within the department, there have been a lot of challenges. And I was elected in 2007. I remember in 2008 asking some questions, and in a private conversation, one officer said, "This is our fiefdom. We don't like when you ask questions. We don't like." So there have been challenges in this department. Have they served our community? Yes. I've lived here pretty much all my life, and I feel like whenever I've called on the police department, they've done their job in the way that I expected, and maybe in some cases beyond what I expected. But there absolutely have been challenges, and that's across the department. The reason why I wanted to remember when you came on board was, remember, it was COVID, and it was a whole layer of additional challenge of public safety. And so I just want to say that I've appreciated the stability that you've brought to this department. And you've actually seen us through 2 councils, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And a whole lot of change within our department, there was like almost an exodus of longstanding police officers and new being introduced to the department. And I feel like you are at a place in time where you can set a really solid foundation for this department moving forward. And you know, we've gone through a shakeup in our department, and I think sometimes, as much as we want to say, you know, oh, woe is me and all, maybe it was necessary. You know, maybe this shakeup has been good for the city in the long term. And so it rests on you, Chief,
Yes, ma'am.
that you set the foundation moving forward. And I really hope that, you know, you will continue to do that for us. One thing I have asked for since 2008 has been the CompStat, you know that. And it was somewhat introduced by a chief, Lily Hadsel, but we never got there, and we're still not there. And the reason why I've even mentioned this was because when I worked for the city of Los Angeles, I worked closely with the senior lead officer in my jurisdiction or my area, geographic area, and we relied on CompStat. And the reason why was because we needed to understand what was happening in the community and then deploy resources based on what was happening.
Correct.
And so I would really like us to implement that, you know, take further action to implement that, because I really do think it will benefit the city. And again, set a solid foundation for where we really need to be. When I worked for the city of Los Angeles, it was between 2003 and 2006. And that was 16 years ago, you know. They had CompStat, and I know it's a challenge. It's not easy because they've spent a lot of money and invested, you know, a pretty penny to have that. But even if we have a semblance of that, I think, you know, that's the only thing I would ask moving forward, and just continue to instill the community partnership with our city and bringing in new, you know, officers, and also just keep communicating to us on, you know, the needs of the department. But with that said, I do want to say that I appreciate the stability, and, you know, I look forward to another year or more, right?
Yes, ma'am.
of really setting that foundation. Sometimes there's a lot of good that can come out of a lot of chaos, and that's my hope here.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh. Those are my comments.
Well, Chief, I know that, you know, we've worked together probably for the last 2 years since I've been on the council. And one thing that I do want to say is that you have brought stability to the department. Not only have you brought stability to the department, I've noticed our police officers' morale have gone up. Obviously, you know, it's something that's not going to get fixed overnight. We've had issues with this police department for many years, and unfortunately, we are now dealing with repercussions from the past. We have to put the past behind us and move forward. I remember when we first hired you, the conversation that I had with you was, I don't want a puppet. I don't want any of our directors to be puppets, not of any of ours. You are put in these positions because of your experience and your specialties, and we have to rely on that. So for me, I've seen the changes that you've brought to this department. I've also made it very clear to you that no one gets a free pass. You know, you have to be fair with your employees, but at the same time, one of the things that I had brought up to you was that I will not tolerate and sit back for any abuse of power or anyone who is abusing their badge. There's just no excuse for that. And I think that one of the officers that came and spoke earlier said it perfectly. You are there, you're empathetic, but at the same time, you're there to hold them accountable. And that's what we expect from you as well, to hold each and one of our officers accountable when it has to get to that. But at the same time, you have to be there for them and show them the leadership. And I see that in you. And I thank you for that, because, you know, you have brought some really great things. You've put policies and procedures in place, which were lacking. You know, I believe we've hired probably over 20 sworn and non-sworn officers since you've been on here. I mean, I can go on, the list, you know, goes on with some of the accomplishments that I feel that you've done. Is there still work that needs to be done? Absolutely. You know, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done, not just in your department, but in all of our departments. And I believe that as long as we can continue to work together and we make the right decisions for the right reasons, we're going to be able to accomplish the goals that we have. So that's all that we ask as a council, is that we continue to work together and that we move our police department in the right direction. And unfortunately, we are going to have some officers that are not going to agree, you know, with all of us, right? Or with what we say. At the end of the day, like I said, as long as we're doing the things the right way and the way they should be done and in the most fair and honest way, then there's no looking back. Sometimes we have to make tough decisions. And unfortunately, some of us may like it, some of us may not like it, but they have to get done. And I believe that you're the man for that job to, you know, put the hammer down when it has to get done. So for me, I support having you as our chief, and I support bringing you up to the next step. And thank you for your work that you've done, Chief.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor,
Yes.
I have a few comments. As I stated, I think we initially met about this in February, at the beginning of February, and I expressed my concerns and my questions to my council colleagues. And I had a lot of concerns and I had a lot of questions regarding your leadership. And I still have those concerns and I still have those questions. And I stand by what I said back in February, where I feel that, did I feel that you warranted the review that you got? Not necessarily. I brought about, like I said, a lot of concerns and questions regarding leadership, the way that you're managing things. Did I feel that you warranted the level of what you were given? Not necessarily. And I am a proponent, as I've said many a times, on law enforcement. I feel it's a privilege and an honor to have our own police department, and I appreciate every single day that the men and women come and do the job they do. The concern there was in terms of your leadership, and I just don't feel that at this point it warranted the steps that you're getting or the review that you got. So I adamantly disagree with my colleagues at this point regarding the promotion or the step. Thank you.
Oh, Enrique, at this time, I believe you have a report for us.
Yes, Mayor, I am going to read verbally what is in the report, but the recommended amendment to the employment agreement with Chief Lopez proposes a salary increase from $17,535.28 monthly, or $210,424.55 annually at step 1, to increase to $19,332.76 monthly, or $231,993.06 annually at step 3. There are 5 steps in the salary schedule for the chief of police. That is my verbal report.
Great, thank you, Enrique. So at this moment, I will move to approve the item. Can I get a second?
Second.
City Clerk, roll call, please.
Mayor Estrada,
Yes.
Councilmember Damian,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia,
Yes.
Councilmember Ayala.
No.
Motion passes 3-1.
Thank you for that, City Clerk.
Mayor, I just also want to say that, there is room for opinion and there is space always for improvement. And, I just want to express to those who came out and shared their opinions that it's encouraged. As long as it's not, disrespectful. I wasn't here for the last meeting, so I didn't hear the comments. But, I always appreciate constituents who come out, who live in the community and want to offer their experience. And we can gain something from it as long as it's not malicious and slanderous and ill-willed and, it's actually constructive, then absolutely there's a space for that here.
Absolutely. Everybody has 3 minutes to come up here and say whatever they'd like. And, we take it into account. Like I said, whenever I hear something, I acknowledge it and let you know my opinion or what I can show to you. And I'm sure the other council members will do the same. We're all here to hear you, listen to you, and of course, talk with you. Like I said, right, there's 75,000 residents, 70,000 plus residents in the city. There's no way we're going to agree on everything, but, rest assured that we are here to make the best decisions on your behalf. This moment, we do go to the request direction for the Ballpark Holiday Parade. And so maybe I'll pass this off to Manny.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much. The purpose of tonight's report is relatively easy. We would like to know from a staff perspective in terms of how to plan for our up-and-coming parade that is scheduled for this December of 2023. At Council's direction last year, we went ahead and moved the date of the parade from November to December. So now we're approaching December again in a number of months, and we are looking at enhancing the event overall, but there has been some discussion if we should have a nighttime parade or preserve the morning parade. Like I mentioned before, both events are enhanced. We will have breakfast at both events. We will bring in a winter fest, which is basically snow play areas and hopefully slides. And we will have the awards following each one. So once again, just to recap, we have the option of having the parade in the morning like we have had in the past, or we have an option to move the parade to a nighttime event. Although if City Council chooses to direct staff to have the parade in the evening, I just would like to manage expectations because there are a number of parades in the area in the evening. Just to name a few: Covina, West Covina, La Puente, and Laverne. Those are all evening parades. So it's not to say we can't coordinate one in the evening, although I just would like to manage expectations in regards to all of the bands, and those are long-standing parades. It appears that we found a niche in the morning for our parade, but at this point, I would like to request direction from council and/or answer any questions that you may have in regards to any element of the parade or any other element associated with the festivities scheduled. Thank you.
Mayor, if I may?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. Well, as you guys know, the original goal for moving the parade to December was to make it a holiday Christmas parade, with the intentions of it moving to Main Avenue at night to end up at the Zócalo. I don't think we're having the Zócalo this year, so I think we can scratch that idea, right? Now, I know some of the concerns if we do move it to nighttime. If we do have the Winterfest, which is the snow, I don't know if many of our kids in the community are going to want to come out to the snow at night. It's cold out there. I would love to see this holiday parade at night. I think it would bring a more festive atmosphere to it. Thinking back of how successful it was last year and it being the first year, in my opinion, I would just be inclined to just leave it as a day parade, do the what we did last year, and then probably just work on to improve that in the future. And if it does work out that we can bring it to the Zócalo at one point in time, then maybe we can do that. But I'd love to hear your guys' opinions and feedback on that.
I guess speaking as somebody who was in marching band, night parades are really fun, right? And it really encourages people to come out, and it's a different feel. I think we did we really did have a successful event last time. It was a little hot. So the temperature might something that we want to consider. There's more room I think there's more room for growth in the night, maybe lights. I really think kids they have no feelings when it comes to temperature and snow. They're going to want to be there. But that's something that we want to do. But I would really emphasize that if we want, I know that one of the biggest things is that we have to compete for people to come here rather than another venue or parade, sorry. It is really important that we entice it to come. I know that, for marching bands, the thing that makes them want to come is the sweepstakes. What are they going to take? We might have to get competitive with that regarding other cities, especially because we're trying to go against their known reputation for these, and they're just automatically scheduled sometimes.
Yes, and Mayor, just for clarification, our award in terms of sweepstakes is one of the largest ones around. So we conducted our due diligence and made sure our cash award or check award to any of the high schools that earned the sweepstakes was receiving the largest check in the area.
Yeah, so, I
misspoke. So,
want to do night now?
I've always wanted to do night, but looking back at this, it's been a long day. If we do night, the actual Winterfest snow is from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. So it won't be at night. So I guess we can scratch that freezing out of the way.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so, I don't think we have to maybe do the night now, but, taking into consideration that we are going to have to be competitive, the sweepstakes, I think there's a lot of room. I think one of the things that people really like when we did the mental health awareness walk, was that, they got to take a commemorative medal.
Yes.
A lot of other cities do it. I know the Hollywood Parade, I don't know if it still goes on, but they do commemorative pins for all the participants. Maybe that's something we could do for, the participants, especially the high school kids. They have their Letterman gear. Something nice for them to remember. Start building that legacy of the Ballin Park Parade. So I definitely think there's some challenges there, but if we really plan something out, we can have something really nice.
Yeah, those are some great points. And if the council chooses to preserve the parade as is right now, that will give us a little bit more time to strategize and really dissect the different parades that are currently happening in the evening. And when the Sokolos completed, that might be a major attraction to have the nighttime parade.
Mayor, I am going to channel our dear friend Bob Benbow, who is, will be our longstanding historian in this community. And I'm going to say, let's stick with what, as is, daytime and the route. I have participated in this parade since I was probably like 5 years old. And there's a certain nostalgia, with that event in our community. And I was a strong proponent of not doing away with that event when that was on the table because of cutbacks and the recession and everything. So it's an event that is near and dear, and our youth participate in that. They look forward to it. I think it should stay a daytime event and on the path that it's on, and then maybe in the future we can revisit. But I think that's what our dear friend Bob Benbow would agree with too.
Mayor?
Yes.
I would agree with Mayor Pro Tem Garcia and Councilmember Damian that we kind of maintain its daytime time frame, because I think that it's something that the community anticipates and expects, and especially with I wouldn't say rivaling cities, but other communities that might be having their holiday events in the evening, then I think that we would be better suited at leaving it where it's at, and I think that the community would enjoy it. And I agree, and being a longtime member of it too, I agree.
All right. And then just one more, I think it'd be neat to see how we can incorporate local businesses so that they have that buy-in and then they want to be at that event as well. Last year, some businesses asked if they could join it. I don't know if they could, but if they could, it might be a creative way for them to
Absolutely.
to be known in the city.
Yes.
Mayor, may I add something
Yes.
to the parade stuff? I kind of agree. I think the Christmas parade is a great idea. However, I do agree that it should remain as a morning parade, just because that's what Baldwin Park residents are used to. Whether we leave it on Baldwin Park Boulevard or move it over to Main once Zocalo is finished. Just because, like Manny did mention, there are a handful of nighttime parades already around here, which will leave us competing for the bands to come and perform here. Last year alone, I poked around and I looked around where all the neighboring parades are. Not only do we have Laverne and, the neighboring cities that are closer to us, but there's also Pomona and Ontario who have theirs in the evening, and a lot of the bands that are like Covina or whatnot that would typically come here and perform also go to those parades. So there was actually 2 parades in one night last year. So almost every weekend had a parade in the evening.
Thank you for that. Okay, so I think that gives you some pretty clear direction.
Thank you.
To approve your, we're going to go ahead and authorize the Recreation and Community Services Director to secure education services for the Baldwin Park Holiday Parade. Can I get a second? Second. Any objections?
So to leave it daytime, right, the way it was? Okay.
Okay.
Good to clarify.
Good try, council member.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm glad you did, because I wasn't entirely sure either.
Okay, so we have the approval and adoption of resolution number 2023-007 and consideration of a memorandum of understanding with Goodwill Southern California to reestablish the Next Gen Youth Workforce Program. Is there any questions regarding this program?
Just a very brief presentation if you guys still have a little bit of time. If not, we can, I have Gabby Goetz, who is the regional director for Goodwill, and Robert Sines, who both should be on the Zoom queue to be able to go through a brief presentation. We know that while this is only a recommendation to approve an agreement with Goodwill, that the spirit of the program represents a whole lot more for the council members, for all of you. This is near and dear. It's the youth of our city. It's the future of our city. It's the building of capacity for the future leaders of the city. And in a way, it speaks to the ambitions and the aspirations of the future. And we started it last year, if you recall, sort of short time period to get it up and running. It did build on some of the efforts that the city had attempted to do in years prior, but last year was the first year in which we really got it going. And we're really excited to be able to expand it to include a lot more things, including a citywide job fair that is really growing in excitement. We are going to propose to run it over at the Courtyard Marriott, which, is a great asset of the city in terms of a lodging destination for folks who come and stay in the city. And it's a way of us activating that place in partnership, obviously, with the owner and the operator of the hotel. But why don't we go into the presentation? Gabby and Robert, are you both on?
Good evening. I'm here. This is Gabby.
Okay. I don't know if Robert is on. Okay. If you don't mind, David, or is it Mark, can you pop up the presentation? All right. And I spoke of it being in partnership with Goodwill and our in-city sister organization, the Baldwin Park Unified School District. And I want to also highlight the possibility of adding yet another important partner to this, and that would be Kaiser Permanente. We're very encouraged as of now with what Kaiser has represented to us, that they would like to participate. We haven't quite figured out how and in what capacity, somewhere in there. There's always funding, but they're also the largest employer in our city, as you know. Close to 4,000 employees work at Baldwin Park. Many of them from the city of Baldwin Park, and we of course want it to be more than those that they currently already employ. Next slide, please. So the vision and mission is to provide Baldwin Park youth and young adults with exceptional employment and career opportunities. You'll see the numbers that are quite impressive, and Gabby will walk us through those, because one of the great advantages of partnering with Goodwill is that they have access to all these many programs with different sources of funding that target specific categories, including difficult to employ categories, including young adults who never finished high school and are now looking to be employed. It's not just for one single type of youth, but it's for all types of youth. So as of now, we have employed 335 young folks from the city of Baldwin Park. And as you will see in the next slides, it's just impressive. Next slide, please. I mentioned the partners that we have enlisted support from, obviously the school district. We called it the Chamber of Commerce, but we really meant the business association, okay? It's not the Chamber of Commerce. And I talked about Kaiser Permanente joining as a likely partner. We cannot yet say that they are a partner because we haven't consummated that. And many other community agencies. And then the next slide, from that point, you take it over, Gabby, please.
Sure. Next slide, please. Next slide speaks on recruitment. Again, we're starting, this is their second year of the Next Gen program. So we're set to kick off June 8th with our goal is to provide 70 Baldwin Park High School students, Baldwin Park Unified High School students with a concentration of 11th and 12th graders. So we're hoping that this year, not only do we get these 70 youth, and to mention that a lot of these youth work in your different departments. And so we're going to hope to hire 70 youth this summer, starting in June. Now, our efforts of recruitment will start April, and as Enrique mentioned, in May, I think May 2nd, we're looking at to hire to have a youth hiring fair where we're hoping maybe 50 to 60 employers to actually come in and hire the youth. And so this year, our goal last year, was 300. And so we're going to top it up just a little bit more and hoping to reach 400 this year. And can I have the next slide, please? Next slide, I'm going to go over some of the numbers that we've seen. And so we started this program again in 2022 and have continued. The most important piece of this is that we don't stop. This is not just a summer program. We continue this year round. And so in the program year of 2022, which is July 2021 to June 2022, we served 181 young adults. Most of that started in April, May of last year. And then this program year starts from July 1 to currently, we've served 154 youth. And like Enrique mentioned, we do have other funding sources. Goodwill is funded through LA County Department of Economic Opportunity, DEO. And so we receive other funding to service youth between the ages of 14 to 24. In here, you'll see the blue graph here. It mentions the last year of 2022, and the purples is 2023. But I wanted just to give you a little bit of information as far as the funding source of what they mean. CalWorks is for youth 14 to 18 years old whose parents are receiving cash aid from Department of Public and Social Services. Then you have our foster youth, and that's former foster or current foster youth between the ages of 14 to 24. They would qualify for that program. Then we had Next Gen, and we partnered with Enrique and the team to make sure that we're able to service those youth. And I believe we used some of the ARPA funds for that. We have another category called other underserved youth, and this is for low-income youth experiencing homelessness, parents may be experiencing homelessness, self-identified as LGBTQ, and any other barrier that would fall under that a youth can face. Then we have our probation youth. These are youth that are currently or formerly on probation between the ages of 14 to 18. And another category is our system-involved youth. These are for youth ages 14 to 24 connected to any justice system. It could be the juvenile justice system, it could be a child welfare system, public housing, immigration system, children of immigrants, or social support system. Any system, again, that you can think of, they would fall under this funding source. And then lastly, you have our Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act. Some people know it as WIOA. That program, it runs from ages 16 to 24. We're able to provide many services through there, not just work experience, but also mentoring, leadership, financial literacy. There's just 14 elements within that program that we want to serve that individual in a holistic approach, not just for employment, but also career growth. And then lastly, our third tier of Workforce Innovation Opportunity Acts is for adults that are 18 and over. And again, as Enrique said, Goodwill as a whole loves to serve in a holistic approach to serve the full family. So not only are the youth 18 to 24s receiving pre-employment, employment services and supportive services to get them into a career or college, we also try to assist their parents or anybody in the household that needs support. So those are their funding categories. And again, we're hoping for 400 next year. And I know Enrique was last year when he heard 300, he was really doubting it. And I think this year he's convinced that we can do it as a team, and I'm pretty sure that we can as well. Next slide, please. And last slide, this is the next gen flyer for this year. You'll start seeing that circulated everywhere pretty soon. Again, the youth, by the way, didn't mention it anywhere on here, but the youth do receive $16.04 an hour, and they get to work anywhere from 100 to 160 hours. Some of the youth can return to our programs or dip into a couple of different programs, like the funding sources that I just mentioned. And so it can go from anywhere from 100 hours to 200 hours or extra, depending on that person's needs, the family needs. And again, there's also vocational training that goes under our WIOA program. So anything that we can do to support the family, we are here to do that. And that, I believe, concludes our presentation. Thank you guys for your time. That's it. And again, I'm not sure if we have any questions.
You said it very well. Thank you, Gabby. Yeah, that's our presentation. We recommend that you approve the item.
Great, thank you. I think we all agree it's a great program. We've seen some great turnout from our community and getting our next generation involved. If there's no comments, I'll make a motion to approve item 17. The clerk, roll call, please.
Mayor Estrada,
Yes.
Councilmember Damian,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia,
Yes.
Councilmember Ayala.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you for that. We are at City Council acting as successor agency of the dissolved Community Development Commission. I will make a motion to pass items SA1 and SA2. Can I have a second?
Second.
The clerk, roll call, please.
Mayor Estrada,
Yes.
Councilmember Damian.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia,
Yes.
Councilmember Ayala.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you for that, City Clerk. And we do have a consent calendar for Finance Authority regular meeting. I will make a motion to approve. Can I have a second?
Second.
City Clerk, roll call, please.
Mayor Estrada,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia,
Yes.
Councilmember Ayala,
Yes.
Councilmember Damian.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0. Mayor Estrada, I do want to point out that we did skip one item.
Yes, don't worry, we're going back to it. We got the Housing Authority regular meeting consent calendar. Did I make the motion for that? Not yet, so I'll make a motion to pass the Housing Authority regular meeting. Can I have a second?
Second.
The clerk?
Mayor Estrada,
Yes.
Councilmember Damian,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia,
Yes.
Councilmember Ayala.
Yes.
Motion passes
Thank
4-0.
you for that, City Clerk. So item 18, fiscal year 2022-2023, mid-year budget presentations. I think it'd be beneficial. We wait for the full council to be here so we can have that discussion. If that is okay, we will move it to the next meeting. Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay, city clerk, roll call, please.
Mayor Estrada,
Yes.
Councilmember Damian,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia,
Yes.
Councilmember Ayala.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Great, thank you for that, city clerk. We are at city council, city clerk, city treasurer, staff requests, and communications. I didn't put them in there, but I did have a couple of requests. First, I know that Congress is starting to get ready for their budget. And I know we are looking to do some environmental justice efforts here in the city of Baldwin Park, electrify our bus fleet, electrify a lot of our things that cost money. And of course, the Metrolink, trying to get some rehabilitation dollars for that, as it is under the responsibility of the city. So I would like for the council to be okay with writing a letter to Congresswoman requesting dollars to better rehabilitate our transit infrastructure.
Mayor, I'd also like to chime in since you mentioned Congresswoman Grace Napolitano. We definitely want to express our appreciation for the funding that she's provided for the Family Service Center, and then also the assistance, the support, the funding she's provided for the Quiet Zone. I know that's still in the works. It's moving along, but we absolutely appreciate her support on that because that's what helped establish the zone when it does come to town and fruition.
I also want to remind the council that she was instrumental in providing the funding for Roadside Park, which was a grant that we got last year for $2.2 million.
Yes.
Incredible. We absolutely need to recognize her very formally.
I agree.
Yes, and we do have a joint event with her coming up.
April 4th.
So that might be the best place to do so. And then I know that Tracy Elementary is starting a garden. I think they've reached out to some of us. And I also know some of our contractors like West Coast Arborists do like to donate city wood and get some stuff done. So we can reach out to contractors like that, see if they're able to do something for that Tracy upcoming garden. And then one more, I just pretty good discussion that we can have is considering a lobbyist ordinance so that we are more aware of who is lobbying the city. The city did, our voters did show an immense amount of support for more reform and transparency during the election, so that might be a good conversation to have.
And then, Mayor, I'd like to touch on a couple of things. One, I don't know if you guys received this email, but I've been getting several emails from the same.
Oh, are you talking about the
BJ Custom Cabinets?
Talking about the truck routes?
Yes. Have we looked into that, Chief? I don't know if you've gotten the email, but there's a business on Arrow Highway or Live Oak. Apparently, there's a lot of trailers, and a lot of them are parking there overnight. I don't know if that's an area that they're not allowed to park in, but apparently he's complaining that they are blocking his business. And what I will do, Chief, since you look like this is the first you hear from it.
Yes, sir.
I will forward you the emails. It's BJ Custom Cabinets, and he's located right on Live Oak in Baldwin Park. So I'll forward you those emails, Chief.
Please.
That way you can take a look at that. And then really quick on another item, Mayor, because I know that it's late, but I felt this was important. This was also an email that was sent to us from a concerned resident regarding the City of Hope. So I'm just going to read this letter really quickly, and I don't know if it's within our jurisdiction because I believe it's City of Irwindale. Dear neighbor, this letter is to notify you that the City of Hope has applied for a permit with South Coast Air Quality Management District to construct and operate an internal combustion engine driving one emergency generator. The emergency generator will be located at our leased space at the San Gabriel Valley Corporate Campus at 4900 River Grade Road in Irwindale, and is anticipated to be in operation in August 2023 for South Coast Air Quality Management District. Stated requirements to notify, please find enclosed letters. So some of the concerns are Olive Middle School obviously is right there. Walnut Elementary School is right there. I live like literally right by there. So I don't know. I haven't really looked into, what the cons are of this, but it seems like, our residents are concerned with some type of air quality. I don't know what these engines do, but is there something that we can do as a city
We definitely can research this more deeply and work with the school district relative to the two schools that are in the sphere of influence and the sphere of notification. That notice is required by AQMD, and generators, backup generators, are in some cases required in medical facilities because they must provide the service uninterruptedly in the case of a power outage. So generators are essential to be able to have, but they must meet a minimum air quality standards set by AQMD, which is the very permit that they're going through right now. So we will touch base with the school district and then get in touch with AQMD. But they're following obviously the process that is required for these to be permitted.
Just keep us updated, please. 'Cause I know there's a lot of concerned residents, especially, the school children there. I mean, I'm concerned, but just please keep us updated on that.
Yes.
Thank you, Enrique. That's all I have, Mayor.
Mayor,
Yes.
I just have a couple of things, but I want to thank Councilmember Damian because I also brought that to Enrique's attention because it obviously affects where I work. I just want to thank everybody who came out to speak. We're all in agreement. We're here to listen to what everybody has to say, and I appreciate it. And I appreciate the residents coming out, especially to speak and to give their concerns. As always, I want to acknowledge Ms. Catherine from the library because I'm an advocate for the library system, so I appreciate her. And I just want to give a little shout out and appreciation to everyone who came out to support Read Across America. And I want to thank our city staff, our city clerk, Science, thank you for coming to read to my class. Our CEO, Enrique Zaldivar, thank you for coming. And I think he wants to come back to visit kindergarten again. And I also want to thank my returning members, Director of Public Works, Sam Gutierrez, and our Director of Community Development. Oh my God, I forgot your name right now. Why did I forget you? Ron Garcia. I'm so sorry. It's an R and a G. Sorry, Mr. Garcia. And I want to thank them. And I also want to acknowledge our partners in our community, the Valley County Water District, especially President Vargas, who came out to read, to support my littles, and our county partners in law enforcement, the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, who came out to read to my littles. I appreciate them so much. So thank you so much.
Mayor, if I may, it's going to be very brief, hopefully. So I was asked to share and try to read as fast as I can. The Superintendent's Advisory Committee on School Closures, a committee comprised of BP, USC, parents, staff, and community leaders, is reviewing enrollment projections and extensive data to make recommendations on Phase 3 closures for future years. The district will hold 4 town halls between 5 and 6:30 p.m. Tuesday, March 21st at Olive, March 23rd at Jones, April 4th at BB STEM, and April 6th at Sierra Vista Middle School.
Nice. That is an important notice. Make sure people are aware of that, and then of course council can join. I think that would be beneficial. All right, we are at the end of our meeting. I'm going to make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Second. Any objections? If not, we do want to close on behalf of Bob Benbow, Marie Contreras, Stanley Thornton, and Enrique Rincon. Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Good night.